episode number 69 of HSP TV, Why You Should Love Yourself First. Let me ask you this. Do you want to be loved? Do you seek love from other people? And when you seek love from other people, are you then afraid that once they start loving you, that it will be taken away from you? And does that then leave you feeling empty and broken on the inside? If so, then I want you to understand that I know where you are coming from. Why? Because I've felt the same. I've done the same. I wanted very badly to be loved. And if I'm being honest, I was constantly seeking love from others, although at the time I was not aware of this fact. And every time one of those people then broke our friendship or our contact, I felt it as a personal rejection, and it left me feeling hurt and alone and broken and often bewildered, not understanding what had happened. And it wasn't until I learned to look for love on the inside within myself that things really started to turn around for me. I learned to love and approve of myself first, and that is one of the hardest things to do. It requires you to take time out to put yourself first, focusing on what you want and what you need instead of focusing on all of those other people and being highly sensitive, being an empath, being an intuitive person. I always put the needs of other, or I used to always put the needs of other people in front of my own, before of my own. And I know a lot of you will resonate with this because I've heard it from almost everybody that I had the privilege of being a coach or a mentor to in the past 8 years that I've been doing this. So it might seem selfish at first, but after a while, you will realize that before you can truly take care of yourself, and before you can truly take care of others, is what I meant to say, you have to take care of yourself first because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So that is why today, in the next 20 to 30 minutes, I'm going to be talking about why you need to love yourself first, the three main options when you don't love yourself first, the benefits of loving yourself first, what loving yourself first really means, and how you then actually do it, how to love yourself first. For those of you who do not know me, my name's Barbara, and I'm a transformation coach for what I like to call intuitive, ambitious aliens. Those are people who have always felt weird or strange or like they don't fit into this world and have spent most of their life trying to please others and as a result feel unhappy and unsatisfied with their current reality. After working with me, you will feel proud and powerful. You'll care less about what other people think or say, and you will live a life that is both rewarding and fulfilling. And you'll know exactly how to turn your calling, your passion, your purpose into your soulful, profitable business that allows you the freedom that you desire. I will help you to be free to be who you are so that you are free to love to do what you love doing most with a crystal clear path on how that vision can become your new reality. So let's get started. There's a cliche saying that you have to love yourself first before you can deeply love other people, be it your spouse or your family or your friends. And that is assuming that we know different kinds of love. So you might be wondering, okay, Barbara, but why do people say that? Why is that so? Well, let's first try to analyze this and find the answer to why it is so important to love yourself first from a very practical point of view. One of the reasons might be that there's something about yourself that you do not love. It can be a part of your body or a part of your character or the situation that you're in, or it could be something completely different. You see something about yourself in a very negative perspective, whether it's true or not. And if you have a false image of yourself or a situation that you are facing, that's called cognitive distortion. But it's also very possible that you really do have a shortcoming that you don't like. Okay, Barbara, you might think, but how bad is that really? Well, when you do not like something about yourself in interacting with other people, for instance, the people that you love, there are three main options that then exist. The first one is that they have the thing that you do not like about yourself. For example, somebody has a lot of money and you are poor. The second is that they lack the same thing as you. So you might both be poor. And the third thing is that they are in the process of acquiring the thing that you want, be it more money or a better looking body or a personality trait or whatever. So I think it's really important to look at these three options in more detail. And if you recognize yourself in any one of these three things, then I would love it if you would share it below this video. So the first thing I want to discuss with you is when they don't have it too. So if they lack the same thing that you lack and that you don't like about yourself, there are two things that can happen. The first is that you feel a little bit better about yourself because you are not the only one lacking that thing. There's someone else that is going through the same thing as you, that's in the same position as you. And life becomes just a little bit easier. At the same time, you're also reminded of your shortcoming every time you greet that person. So while that makes you feel a little bit better, it also makes you feel a little bit worse because you can see the reflection of your shortcoming in the other person. And the biggest problem on top of that is that two or more people getting together with the same shortcoming usually don't fight together to overcome it. But instead they bitch and they moan and they whine and they complain about life being unfair. They enforce negative thinking in each other. And while it may be a good short-term release of emotional tension, it only enforces misery and dissatisfaction about oneself in the long run. It is like this negative spiral. You don't love a part of yourself and it bothers you. You then meet someone that has the same shortcoming. You both complain and cry about it without doing anything. You're even more focused on your shortcoming, and the negativity occupies more and more of your time and your cognitive resources. And consequently, you feel even worse and you love yourself even less. You simply can't live a positive life when you're having a negative mind. And the funny thing is that if the other person has the same shortcoming, but that doesn't really bother them, in other words, they don't hate that part of their life. Chemistry for a deep relationship usually isn't even there. So that's the second scenario that can happen. You start hating yourself, but it falls on deaf ears. You get confused on either the angle of the other person or their angle becomes like an eye-opening thing for you and you start loving yourself as well, or you never ever want to meet that person again. When you hate something about yourself and you encounter a person you love that has that same shortcoming, you probably bitch and whine and complain together, which is far from a loving and caring relationship. And if they don't hate the same thing about themselves as you do, there is usually a friction of values and your capacity to love for that person decrease. You want to bitch and release some of your emotional tension, but they don't listen. And that hurts you even more. And their angle can be eye-opening for you and you start loving yourself like they love themselves. Some people know how to be happy and live life with little money, for example. And in that case, you increase your capacity for love, your capacity to love yourself and other people. But that rarely happens. Okay, Barbara, you might think, but what happens when they do have it? Well, a much more difficult situation takes place when someone you love has something that you lack and hate about yourself. Every time you meet them, they remind you of your shortcoming. Every time you meet them, you get envious. Every time you meet them, hate takes over your heart and negative thinking conquers your mind. And usually you're not even consciously aware that this is happening. So instead of focusing on love and having a positive relationship with someone, you let the negative prevail and you decrease the potential of the relationship. The hard thing is that this may happen subconsciously without you being aware of it. That's the shittiest thing in the whole picture. You think you're happy for your lover or your friend because they have something you don't. But subconsciously, you resent them for being better than you are. When you repress your feelings and you lie to yourself, even with the positive intention of having a good relationship with someone, the monster in the shape of negative feelings grows inside of you and then strikes when you least expect it. Usually something else starts bothering you about that person, or you become grumpy or annoying or judging towards a person that you love. You start looking for other weaknesses of that person or how you could appear more superior to them in any other way. The point is, instead of having that loving relationship, everything turns into relationship just because you hate something about yourself. And the solution is very simple, but also hard to do. You either start working hard towards acquiring that thing that you are lacking and that you hate about yourself, or you forgive yourself and you accept yourself as you are, really deep down. Otherwise, your relationship becomes extremely intense in a negative kind of way sooner or later, lacking love, understanding, and mutual respect, and you may not even know why. When you hate something about yourself and the person you love has it, it'll bother you, consciously or subconsciously. You'll become unhealthy competitive. You'll judge. You'll try to have more control and so on. And that's definitely not love. You either start fighting for overcoming the shortcoming that you hate about yourself, and the loved person in your life who doesn't have the same shortcoming can help you. And if they love you, they will. Or you forgive yourself and you accept yourself as you are. If you are not prepared to work hard for something, to work hard to love yourself more, then what's the point? There are some ideas how at the end of this episode, you will be able to do this. So stay tuned. Okay, Barbara, you might think that doesn't sound really great. Is there also a third option? Yes, there is. The third option is that a person you love works hard for something that you see as your shortcoming. It may motivate you to also start the same process of abolishing that shortcoming. And it should. But sadly, that rarely happens, especially if you hate that shortcoming about yourself so much that you don't have the self-trust and confidence that you can abolish it. And that's why hate towards oneself really does count as an extreme negative emotion. It takes away your power of rational choice, the power to act and fight in a constructive way while keeping positive relationships with with the people that you love. It clouds your judgment and it misshapes your reality. And the reality that no one is perfect in this world and that everyone has their strengths and their weaknesses, their opportunities and their threats, because that is the reality. Nobody is perfect. And that's also what usually happens when someone you love starts working on something that you are lacking. You try to stop them and you hinder them with guilt and negative talk, and you try to enforce old habits and behavioral patterns onto them, usually because you're scared. because you're not only afraid that someone you love will have something that you are lacking, you're also afraid that you may lose them because of that, because you don't trust in yourself. And since you can't trust in yourself, you hate something about yourself. A stereotypical situation is when someone starts working out and eating much healthier, and all their friends start mocking them, inviting them for pizza and beer, and even a spouse can start behaving the same way because it reminds other people that they don't have the willpower to do it, or they're afraid of losing someone because their sexual market value will grow as a result of their gained muscles, for instance. So you need to forgive yourself. You need to love yourself first. And the very sad thing is that people who really hate something about themselves usually aren't even responsible for that hate on some level. Usually they come from broken homes or have bad relationships with their parents. Maybe they've experienced shocking events in their youth when they were young, or their tutors were eternal critics, never satisfied with anything. Or maybe they were somehow so different from a society that they felt rejected. I was someone that was in the bad relationship with parents category, but also feeling so different from society and feeling rejected. And that's how cognitive distortions are born and how people start hating something about themselves. But nevertheless, you have to take responsibility for your thoughts and your feelings at some point. And using your past as an excuse to feel sorry for yourself is completely unproductive and a huge waste of your time. So you have to fight. And you constantly fight to improve yourself, but not by feeling hate towards yourself and hate towards others because you don't like or love something about yourself. You have to fight and keep improving yourself with positive feelings of love and creativity and collaboration and tolerance and courage. Okay, Barbara, you think, I hear you, but what will that bring me? Because fighting with myself also doesn't sound really great. Well, when you love yourself, you will have a more satisfying life as you feel good about your circumstances, but also about your abilities to change them at any given moment. In doing so, you are able to spread that positivity with with the people around you, and you encourage them to pour love into themselves as well. You will realize that there are no limits to what you can accomplish if you put your mind to it, and you will make healthy choices that will guarantee that you will achieve your goals. Having self-love allows you to have a more fulfilling life because you learn that your happiness isn't dependent upon yourself, but upon anyone but yourself. You don't mind spending time alone, and you are comfortable with who you are and where you are in your life at any given moment. And as a result, you are able to genuinely love other people and be happy for their success as a result. And the more satisfied you are with yourself, the more you can share your light and positivity with others. There is no right way to go about loving yourself more. All you must do is make an active effort to do so, and from there find the way that works best for you. And if that is difficult for you, then please reach out to me because I would love to help you with this. Because it's not the how that matters, it's the why. Okay, Barbara, you might think that's all good and well, but what does it really mean to love yourself first? And that is a good question. And I'm going to be really honest with you here now. The idea of loving myself sounded nice in theory, but it took me years to release all those blocks that were preventing me from truly loving myself at a very deep level. And it was only until a couple of years ago, I think, that I actually discovered how to do this and what it brought me. Loving and accepting myself fully, including all of my past mistakes, never seemed that important to me. Whereas in the end, it became essential for me to not only find peace within myself, but to also give the universe permission to deliver to me the happiness that I was craving. And it's only when you acknowledge your true self and align with your heart's desire that you can fully embrace life. And after 10 years of studying the law of vibration, the law of attraction, the law of sowing and reaping, the law of resonance, and other spiritual teachings, there's one conclusion I've come to. Loving yourself first is the only way to true emotional fulfillment. And this personal fulfillment is how we become of great service and value to the rest of the world and create an abundant lifestyle for ourselves and our family. When you love yourself enough to honor the unique and incredible person that you are, that was put on this earth to be incredible and amazing and unique, then the universe delivers tenfold. Okay, Barbara, I get it now, but how do I start loving myself first? Well, first off, I want to tell you that loving yourself first is not selfish. How can you be of service to other people if you have nothing to serve with? So that's already one misconception out of the way. When you love yourself first, you say no to other people, but you say yes to yourself. This is one of the things that made the biggest difference for me, knowing that I'm saying yes to myself and knowing that it's not selfish to take really good care of myself, because if I'm not doing okay, I cannot help other people do okay too. So saying no to other people is saying yes to myself so that in the end I am able to help those people. It's no longer about whether you're good enough for them. Instead, you ask yourself questions such as, are they good enough for me? Is this job worthy of my time, my effort, and my energy? Is this person worthy enough of my love? Am I able to have the freedom I need to grow and be the best version of myself in this particular circumstance? Where is the majority of my focus and energy going? Is it going towards my dreams and desires? Or is it being wasted? When you align with your desires, you're loving yourself first. And the universe will begin to match it, because we only get what we're willing to accept, and we only receive from the universe what we are willing to let in. And a lot of this has to do with belief. Whether the story or theme is, that is what we will get matched with. The beliefs that are going on in our head. So as I mentioned, those beliefs are formed when we were very small children, probably from the moment we were born. And society teaches us how to be in terms of what we should or should not be doing when we get older. I did another episode about this. It's called Rules, the Bullshit Rules of Life. So if you haven't seen that one yet, go to my YouTube channel /HSP Coach Barbara and check that one out, Rules. So a lot of rich and successful people, like Oprah Winfrey, for instance, have had negative upbringings. And what they've done is they've changed their beliefs by thinking, I'm going to choose better for myself. And I'm going to switch that storyline. And it's done by loving yourself first and saying, I've had enough. I want better for myself, universe. I don't want this anymore. I don't want all the shit that's constantly been dropped in my lap. I want something better. I want something more loving. So self-love is our fuel. It's the foundation for who we are. And everything builds on top of this foundation. And if it isn't solid, life feels shaky. And for those of us who have experienced the power of self-love, we can agree that the effects can often feel quite magical. The moment we start loving ourselves first, We experience shifts in our life, positive shifts. This is something that I can definitely promise you. Life begins to move forward with more ease and things begin to magically fall into place. Relationships improve, health improves, and life begins to feel good, really good, ridiculously good. Loving yourself first and creating that deep internal relationship has countless magical benefits. Because when you begin your love affair with yourself, you will recognize and prioritize your needs. In order to create that loving relationship with yourself, you'll have to recognize what you need, what you want. Without self-love, you are dismissive of your needs. You ignore them while prioritizing the needs of others, such as your partner or your friends or your family or your coworkers. Self-love is all about identifying your needs and making them a priority in your life. It's all about doing what truly feels right for you without guilt or shame. You'll also gain a true sense of self. Say goodbye to codependency. Self-love pushes you to take care of your own needs. You'll learn to give to yourself, and in doing so, you will develop into the person that you strive to be. You'll celebrate the beauty and freedom of being true to yourself, and you'll gain a solidified sense of who you truly are. Self-love helps you to ground into your true self. You'll also learn to set loving boundaries. Because as your self-love expands, you will be able to identify what is and isn't good for you. Simply put, the more you love yourself, the less you'll tolerate being treated like crap. You'll gain the clarity you need to understand that you will and will not accept in your life. It will also prevent self-sabotage. You know, when everything is finally going great, and then all of a sudden you self-sabotage that great feeling by doing something destructive. Self-love makes that saboteur behavior go away. And as we grow the love within ourselves, it will become easier to accept the good things in our lives. It will also allow you to drop the victim mentality. Self-love is all about taking ownership, owning up to your actions and how you choose to show up in this world. Self-love is all about stepping out of your victim mentality, because the only reason that you adopted a victim mentality in the first place is because you refuse to see the role that you play in your experiences. You begin to prioritize self-love very lowly, and you start to view your experiences differently when you are in a victim mentality. So when you step out of it, you will start to prioritize self-love, and that will completely change the way you look at everything in your life. It's all about learning lessons, not about denying them. Ownership is empowering. When you give love, you will not feel depleted. Flight attendants always tell you that you need to put on your oxygen mask first before you can start helping other people. Now, why do you think they tell you that? Why do you think they say that to you in an airplane? They say that because you cannot help other people if you cannot breathe. And self-love works the same way. You cannot give love to others if you don't love yourself, if you do not have love within. You may feel as though you have the ability to love, but what's really happening is that you're giving love from an empty space, further draining your energy and emptying your tank. And this leads to that sense of depletion, emptiness and exhaustion after you feel yourself giving and giving and giving to someone. However, when you remember to put your mask on yourself first and stock up on self-love, you'll be feeling like you're giving love from a full tank. And this type of giving feels energizing and good. You'll also find your own happy. Stop seeking happiness outside of yourself because you won't find it. I'm sorry to tell you this, but you will not find happiness outside of yourself. You may find temporary happy moments, but you won't find long lasting happiness. And self love helps you get your groove back. It's that simple, really. The more love you show to yourself, the better you will feel. And the better you will feel, the happier you'll become. You are in charge of your happiness. And self love is the key to finding it. Self love is not selfish. Self love is about connecting to your innermost needs, celebrating the freedom of being you, and honoring who you truly are while dropping your destructive patterns. Loving yourself is magical. It is a divine relationship that will help you radically improve every single aspect of your life. So go on, drop the guilt, embrace having a deep, loving relationship with you. I hope I was able to show you why you need to start loving yourself first and what it will bring you in your life. I would love it if you would share the most eye-opening thing of everything that I've told you today below this video in the comment. However, if you want long-lasting results and you are serious about changing your life and finally leading the life that you desire, the life that will bring you happiness and love, then I would strongly advise you to find a coach or a mentor like me, for instance, to help you, to guide you towards that life. If you find yourself getting knocked off centered regularly by different people or situations, if you often feel hurt by what other people say or do, or if you just feel lonely and empty and broken on the inside, then you and me, we need to talk. Just think how less stressed and excited you will feel when you are able to love yourself first. Can you imagine the sheer sense of relief and feelings of long lost happiness when I help you to see what a beautiful person you are? Just think of a moment, just think for a moment how your life can and will change for you when you have all the knowledge you will need to know yourself through and through so that you can become proud of the person you really are and take really good care of your wants and needs. If this resonates with you, and if you are serious about taking charge of your life and getting the results that you do truly want to have, then I would invite you to hop on a free discovery call with me. In this no strings attached call, we are going to get really clear on what stage you are in now and what knowledge you need to move past to step into your freedom. Click on the link below this video or send me a message in Messenger, WhatsApp, or an email, and we will get you set. I'll never forget the stressed and incredibly unhappy life I led when I just didn't love myself and I doubted my worth and my abilities. I wanted so much to just be loved, to fit in. I wanted so much to be accepted and be part of something bigger than me, to be part of a family of sorts. And it wasn't until I learned to love myself first that I was able to heal myself and I was able to take care of myself and my needs without feeling selfish or egoistical. Now I know that the only thing I really need is to love myself deeply and unconditionally and have complete faith in myself and my abilities. All the rest really just isn't that important. Sure, some things still hurt and can even hurt me deeply. It has happened recently. But because I love myself and because I see my worth, how amazing I am, and how wonderful it is to have me be a part of your life, I don't let those things influence the way I behave or feel, especially about myself anymore. And that is what I want for you too, that freedom. So Click the link below this video, book that free call with me, and take your first step on the road to living a life you love. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your questions. I see that Monique was here. Thank you, Monique, for sharing, and I hope that I get to see you later. She says I'm going to watch it later, which is absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. And I'm going to check in our group to see if there are people who may have had questions in the tribe of soulpreneurs. And if you do not know what the tribe of soulpreneurs is, it is my fantastic group, both on Facebook as well as on LinkedIn, where we share authentic life and business strategies with other intuitives, empaths, highly sensitive people, soulpreneurs, and so on. So if you feel called to that, then just send me a message as well, and I will add you to that group. Oh, at the moment, I cannot even find us in our group. So I am guessing that right now there are no more questions. But if you are catching this in the replay or are watching it later, which is catching it in the replay, then no, I will answer your questions when I see them, even if you're asking them in the replay. So for now, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your love and your support. And if there's anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to reach out and book that free call. For now, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.